Alright, so we're back. This is for part 2 of the video. As we speak right now, videos are actually being uploaded to my own YouTube channel now. So people who aren't friends with me on Facebook will be able to check out my videos. Anyway, I didn't want to risk destroying this piece of terrain because in some areas when I put on the spackle, you can still see some pink through, and it shows in some other areas. And so I didn't want to risk spray painting it, so we're actually going to undercoat it black by hand. Usually when I undercoat models, I usually only let you do it with spray paint with pewter miniatures because they chip more easily and the spray paint holds a hell of a lot better. So I'm probably going to use a bunch of watered down black paint to color this, and we'll be back with that in just a second. Alright, so we got the piece undercoated. I just used my cheap fabric store ink to do it, because most of the materials it's made of are pretty absorbent, although it was really messy, so I got all over my hands. On the flip side, it'll also dry a lot faster, because the paint's not nearly as thick. You know, it's basically just water and pigment. You know, it doesn't have all that other crap that's in spray paint, makes it all thick and viscous. So yeah, we'll just have to wait for this to dry for, I don't know, 10 minutes or something. Then we'll get started. Alright, we're back. Got this thing undercoated. The sand areas undercoated with snakebite leather. The color contrast on this camera is not great with this fucking terrible lighting, but this is undercoated with bee steel brown, I think. So I'm probably going to hit that with some black ink again, like real black ink, not the crappy fabric store stuff I have. And then this area here I'm probably going to do the normal dry brushing stuff I do with sand terrain. You know, see my previous videos if you don't know what I'm talking about. I meant to glue some ballast onto this thing to give it more, you know, sandiness. But I got kind of carried away when I was painting and totally forgot to do that. So I guess we'll just do without. I might add some later, but I doubt it. Alright, so we're back. I just dry brushed this with some bleach bone, like I've done with every other piece of terrain I've shown you, all the desert stuff. Excuse me. Went over the planks with the ink I was talking about, so they've got sort of a dark look, and if you look at them closely, you can sort of see, it brings out the detail in the grain when you see them in person. It's another one of those things that doesn't really translate to the video as well. I would say we're done now, and I was going to be finished with this, but the other day when I was at the game store, I picked up a brand new piece of hobbying supply. Some Gale Force 9 Hobby Scenics Static Grass. And so what this is basically, you can't see it very well, but it's, look, parts straw, I don't know if you can read that, $3.99, Gary's Games, much cheaper than the Games Workshop brand. It's basically finely chopped fiberglass that's been dyed like brown. You know, this is parched grass. You can get it in green and all kinds of different colors and gray and stuff like that. So this sort of works like the ballast. You glue it on and it looks like grass actually standing up on end. It's quite remarkable. It's probably not going to show up very well because the grains are so fine and tiny you won't be able to see them very well, but it's super cool stuff. Alright, so here we are. I'm going to give you some action shots, exciting stuff, of how we use the static grass. Now you got to be really careful when you open the tin on this, on the Gale Force 9, because if you fucking look at this stuff funny, you'll like inhale it and it'll fly around the room, and I understand that makes your lungs bleed and all kinds of crazy shit like that. So as you can see, the tin here is kind of packed to the brim even. So what we're going to do, it's just like when we do our ballast, we get out our glue. Say we'll put a little bubble of glue right here. I've got this dandy little metal thing I used to scratch the inside of my ear with sometimes, just kidding. We scoop some up. You don't want to use your fingers because you'll make a fucking mess. Not that I'm not doing that right now. Just pour it on. And just like when we do ballast, you want to put on more than you think will stick to where you're putting it. Like this. I guess I will use my fingers because I'm terrible. Contradict myself all the time and misappropriate terms. Anyway, so you put on more than you think will stick, let it dry, knock it off. You know, it's like when you're making cinnamon toast. And you put the butter on, then you pour on a shitload of cinnamon, let it sink in, and then dump all the loose cinnamon back on the bowl. Same idea. So I'm going to let that sit for a minute, close this up tight, and we'll be right back. So I think by this point the glue's probably dried, so I'm going to take the lid off my standard grass here, dump the stuff back in, blow it off. So now, can't see it very well, but we got this little patch of fuzzy grass growing here, kind of desert dried straw color. I'm going to put on a few more patches, and then we'll call this thing fucking finished. Maybe put a little bit right. Come on, super glue. Be cool, super glue. Oh, what the fuck? Oh, fucking A! God damn it! So my super glue just did this thing where it gummed up, and then I squeezed it a bit, and then it shot out a whole fuckload of super glue. Aren't you glad this is on my goddamn episode? So I guess we'll just put a whole bunch here. Why not? You know? This is what I intended to do, right? This is what I meant to have happen all along. Well, I guess it'll look like some sort of weird moss, desert moss is growing here. Dump some more on. Moron. See what I did there? Owen did a stupid thing. Then on a play of words, he actually said the word moron. Alright, so this thing's pretty much finished. The static grass adds a nice little level of detail. Makes it look a little more alive. While I was busy swearing up a storm over the oozing super glue, I managed to put my elbow in it because there was a spot of it on my table I hadn't noticed. Anyways, this thing's just about done. Now that I have the static grass, I'm probably going to go through to a lot of my older terrain and super glue little tiny spots of static grass here and there to give them that same little touch and pizzazz and, you know, all that. So, yeah, here's our foxhole. And alright, and we're back. And so we'll just do our cinnamon toast trick here and give it a little nudge. Actually, it doesn't look half bad, although I did waste like a shitload of glue doing this. It looks like there's some kind of grass or mold growing there. So yeah, this thing's just about finished. I'm gonna seal this stuff nice and tight. Oh, god damn it, I just realized I spilled a bunch.